today. Everybody will practice, and look forward to the challenge of playing the Ravens. Good football team, real good football team. So we're aware of that, and we'll start off today with our preparation to play. With that, time's yours.
Coach, you've had number 14 here for 3 years. You got a chance to see him Monday night. What do you think his addition to that team? What kind of problems do you think that might pose for your defense?
Yeah, so I'm a big Sammy Watkins fan. I like him as a human being. I liked him as a player, and I wish him the best. We're playing him, so I can't wish him the best for that. But for the rest of the season, I wish him the best in that. Heck of a kid, man.
Coach, I'm sorry, I have to ask this question, but there was a report yesterday from ESPN's Adam Schefter that linked Eric Bieniemy to USC. A two-part question here. Have you talked to Eric about that? And then what are your concern level that he might go to a head coach college position?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I haven't really talked to him in depth about that. But I know he's from that area, and he's going to be great wherever he goes. So, and I'm his biggest fan. So I stand on the day if he wants to go there or wherever he wants to go. They're lucky to have him.
How big of a loss would that be for the team and the NFL if he gets passed over?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys know how I feel on that. I mean, I think the world of him, and I think he's a heck of a football coach and a great man. So.
You talked a little bit about Sammy Watkins, obviously, there, but Orlando Brown Jr. is going to have his first game going back against the Ravens. Is there something extra that comes whenever a player is having their first game back against an old team, especially when it's such a quick turnaround? They know most of the guys on that roster.
Yeah, I mean they've got Justin Houston too, so I mean there's a little bit of that going on in this game of knowing people. So. And organizations, but I'm sure he'll be excited. I think when it really comes down to it, though, he's going to focus on his performance and what he needs to do to perform well. So he's a pretty mature guy that way. So.
Well, the last couple of years, because I mean, this has been somewhat of a big rivalry between the two teams, but you've all gotten the better of them. The last 3 times, I believe that Patrick has been starting quarterback. What's so special about this matchup? Against Lamar Jackson and the type of Ravens defense that you face? Yeah,
well, they're well coached and they've got good players, and so it's always a knockdown, drag out fight there, and they're tough. I mean, that's the way they practice. That's the way they go about their business, and so we've got to make sure we prepare ourselves right for it. It's every play is an honest down when you play them.
And what's the difference between the Browns running attack and the Ravens running attack, especially obviously that involves Lamar as well?
Yeah, well, both of them they know how to run the football, and you saw that even with the injuries that have taken place. I mean, they ran the ball well. So I think their offensive coordinator's got who I have a tremendous respect for. He's got a great feel for the run game. Lamar obviously is a huge threat. I mean, he can throw it and he can run it and he's smart. So, I mean, all those things go in and he likes to play the game. So, you got to prepare yourself the right way there.
And do you have any thoughts on Dave Culley getting a win in his first time out, particularly after what they've had to go through down there?
Oh, no. I mean, I think it's great. Dave, again, is a great human being. I think he's good for that organization, in particular where they, what people perceive to where they sit now. And he has them believing. And Tyrod is I think he's a very good quarterback. I was lucky enough to have him in a Pro Bowl, so got to work with him a little bit. And now he has an opportunity to play. And it looked like he took advantage of that opportunity very well.
Like Tyrann Mathieu will be back to practice today. Stemming from last week's pay-per-view, what did you maybe miss that you didn't have with Mathieu and you're fortunate to get back this week?
Yeah, so, I mean, he's a great player. And and not taking anything away from the other guys. I mean, they did a nice job back there. But you're obviously going to miss somebody like that. So, and he's one of your primary signal callers back there. So it'll be good to get him back in that role and keep the communication up. Everybody's going to play. I mean, those guys, it was great experience for 22. One had a nice day. Probably proud of him for how he handled his business. He's still going to play, so I mean, he's going to have an opportunity. He's in different groupings that Spags got. So, but it'll be great to get Tyron back in there.
Couple more guys.
When you talked about Justin Houston, but they have some other guys on that defensive side of the ball, Calais Campbell, Patrick Queen, those guys. When you watched them play the Raiders, what stood out to you the most?
Fast. They're fast. They get to the ball. Justin's actually, playing very well for him. I don't want to slight that. I'm a fan of his too. So I mean, he's a good football player, and he knows this offense. And but those other guys, they play hard and aggressive, and you got to be accurate with what you do.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Good. Thank you.
All right, guys, fire away.
Yeah, Patrick, you played with Sammy for 3 years. You got a chance to see him Monday night. What's he look like to you healthy? And then what do you think, he brings to that offense that could pose problems to our team Sunday?
Yeah, when he's healthy, man, he can roll. He's a guy that he comes to work every single day. He puts in the work. He's obviously a bigger body who can make a lot of catches, but he has the speed to break it away at any time. I think you saw that in their game on Monday night, and obviously when he was here with us. And so I'm happy for him that he's in a good spot, and I know it'll be a great challenge for our defense to have to battle against him.
What is it about this rivalry, you would say, even though you've had the better of Lamar Jackson, that fans get so pumped up seeing the Ravens and the Chiefs on their schedule?
Yeah, I think it's just when two good football teams play against each other, there's always going to be a lot of hype and a lot of build-up to the game. And then seeing Lamar and all the success that he's had with that team, they're two of the top teams in the AFC. And so we're going to have to battle every year, it seems like, or in the playoffs or whenever it is. And so obviously there's a lot of momentum coming throughout the week when you go play teams like this.
You mentioned all the success that Lamar Jackson has, and obviously you've evolved since you've become a starter. How has he evolved from your point of view?
Yeah, you can tell he has a better understanding of the offense. I mean, just like I have. when you first get out there, I mean, me in my first year, and him in his first year, you kind of have to rely on your just playmaking ability. But as you kind of continue to learn and evolve as a passer, and as you learn different things in this league, and you see different defenses, you understand little tricks of the trade you can do to go out there and have success. And you can see that with him. And then obviously when it comes down to it, he can make plays happen pretty much every game.
Patrick, every play obviously takes on its own personality, and you have your reads and stuff, but it does seem like it's pretty Tyreek and Travis heavy the other week. And I just wonder how conscious you are of whether you really need to develop another threat like that and what it'll take to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I have full confidence in everybody that's on that football field. I mean, we had guys that can make plays everywhere. This last week, Trav and Tyreek made the plays, but I'm sure throughout the entire season and what we've seen in our past is we have guys like McCole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle that can make the big play happen at any moment. So I have full confidence in that.
To that point, what are you telling those guys as they, in the huddle? It's like, all right, well, it's probably not going to come our way. So how do you keep them down here?
Yeah, I hope they're never thinking that because, I mean, with me, it's whoever's open is going to get the football. And so whenever guys go out there and they run their routes, they know they're going to get their opportunities. So they're hoping and they're going to go out there with the mindset every single play that there's a chance that they could be catching a touchdown. And I think that's kind of how I roll and how Coach Reid rolls.
Confidence is one thing, but obviously trust is another. Again, as you mentioned, you had 22 passing attempts to Travis and Tyreek and, what the other receivers get. How much of it is that you trust in what they do or that they just find themselves open versus you getting the ball out and spreading the ball around?
Yeah, I think it's to me, it's just kind of going through the reads of the game and seeing what the defense kind of gives you. And this last week, they kind of left the middle of the field a little bit more open. So I was able to hit Tyreek and Trav over the middle a lot. But, I mean, as we get into games like this week where they play more man coverage, and I'm sure they'll have a plan for Tyreek and Trav, they'll give other guys opportunities. And so we have play calls for every single person, and they know on every single play that they have a chance to get in the ball.
When that's to describe the Ravens defense, Andy just said they're fast. So you mentioned guys like Houston and Queen. How does that impact maybe your decision making? You're typically not afraid to scramble it, but does that kind of play into maybe just staying a little bit home this weekend? Yeah,
I mean, I think you just kind of have to fill it out throughout the game. Obviously, they're a very good defense. They do a lot of great things. They have a lot of great players. It seems like every single week they have a brand new scheme because the defense coordinator over there, Wink. And so for me, it's about just kind of going through my reads and trying to get the ball in my hand. If you hold on to the ball too long against defense like this, usually bad things happen. So I try to get out of my hand and let the playmakers make plays.
When you're watching the game, I mean, part of you is watching as a fan, part of you is watching it, okay, this is the team I'm going to play Sunday night. How do you decipher between the two? You're like, man, that was a good play versus, okay, this is what I need to watch out for if they run this coverage.
Yeah, I think the best thing about it is, I mean, it was a Monday night football game, obviously standalone. I love watching football, like you said, like being a fan, but it was two teams that we were going to play. I mean, with the Ravens and the Raiders. So kind of looking at both of them as what the other offenses are trying to do to the defenses, and then obviously what the defenses are doing to the offenses, and trying to see what I can pick out and really kind of evolve into ours and our offense. And so it's really cool when then you can have an understanding of the game where you can watch it as a quarterback preparing for the team and watch as a fan and being able to enjoy it.
You have seen fans in Baltimore when you played out there, but you got a chance to see fans for the first time in Vegas. What was your thought process thinking that, okay, in November, we're going to play there, this is what the atmosphere might be like?
Yeah, I mean, I knew whenever we went to the stadium and we saw the layout of it and how it was built that it's going to be loud. I mean, I'm sure a lot of Chiefs fans will want to go to Vegas too, so I'm sure there'll be some Chiefs fans in there. Yeah, I mean, it's a great stadium. They have a great fan base. Every time you play, we used to play in Oakland. It used to be super loud, so I know it's going to be loud every time we play the Raiders.
Justin Houston's on the other side of the football, but when you guys were teammates, I mean, what do you remember about him? I know your locker wasn't too far apart. Anything that he told you or did for you early in your career, you remember? Yeah, I mean, I think he was one of the first people to kind of come up to me as a veteran on the team and kind of be like, hey, you're doing it the right way. He said, just keep going, just keep the hard work, and it'll pay off for you in the end. And I remember that made an impact on me. I think it was in training camp my first year here. And so, I mean, he's a great player. He's a great leader. Obviously, extremely intelligent football player, and very talented. So it'll be a challenge for us for sure.
Does the preparation change at all when you know a defense likes to blitz as much as Baltimore does, and that's what you've experienced so much playing them these last 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, you have to prepare for it for sure. You have to have answers for pretty much every single play versus every type of blitz. I think for me, I had a learning moment in my first year when I started when we played the Patriots. And they brought a lot of different blitzes at me, and I wasn't prepared. So I try to prepare for that every week, just in case the team comes out and they're blitzing more than usual. So obviously, when you play the Ravens, you got to have that preparation, knowing that they like to blitz and they like to bring extra people.
Throughout camp in the preseason, you talked a lot about learning to communicate with the whole new offensive line, especially the tackles. After going back and looking at the film from Sunday, how do you feel like that went for the first time out with you communicating with the tackles? And then what can you improve on this week, the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the first part of your question, the communication, I thought was really, we did really well, especially, I mean, we're at home, but it was still loud. And so guys got in and out the huddle. We were able to get the plays, make the checks at the line of scrimmage, and do what we needed to do. And then with the things we can improve on, I got to work on just the depth of my drop. I mean, that's something I've always had to work on, just not fading back too much, because those guys up front were being firm and they were washing them around. So if I can get better at that, I'm sure it'll help everybody.
Patrick, what did you think of Travis Kelce's analysis on the Monday Night Football broadcast?
It's kind of like the same thing I said about Tyreek. It'd be like that sometimes.
Patrick, as part of the ownership group, I'm sure you have some thoughts about downtown stadium. You're pushing Mr. Sherman in that direction. Or any thoughts about it?
Yeah, I know it's still very early. It's definitely exciting. I mean, you go to different places and see stadiums downtown, and you can kind of walk right into it. And Kansas City has such a great downtown. You would be able to do so much, but I think they're just kind of looking at all options and trying to prepare to do whatever they can to make it as exciting as they can for the Royals fan base.
How do you like that Kansas City and the Chiefs are must-see football now? You all drew the highest ratings on CBS for an opening doubleheader since, I think, 1995 or something to that effect. I mean, how do you like it that you got 6 late afternoon or night games and Monday night game, primetime games that fans can be able to just focus just on the Chiefs and see just how great you all may be?
Yeah, it's really cool because when you grow up, you watch these games. You get to watch those afternoon games, those Sunday night games, Monday night games, and now to be a part of them, it's special. And so it also prepares us for the big games in the playoffs. So, I mean, you just kind of take each and every week and prepare yourself to be out there and to do your best.
Last one, Maya.
Patrick, also, you came home from the game on Sunday, first time as a father. What was it like being greeted after the win and having a game that counted?
Yeah, it was cool. I made it home just in time before bedtime, so she was in her bedtime routine. So I got to just kind of go in and give her a little kiss goodnight. So, I mean, it was definitely cool to get to come home and see her.
She didn't come to the game, did she?
She did. She had the headphones on. I think it ruined one of her naps Brittany wasn't too happy about. So Brittany said that when I was shushing the crowd one time, it was me telling them everybody be quiet for a nap. So it was cool.
Do you like football better than baseball?
I don't know yet. We'll see. I mean, I think her mom's got her strong on the soccer right now, so we're gonna try to work her way where she becomes a big football fan.
Okay. Thanks, Patrick. Thank you.
Fire away.
Nick, what were your thoughts on your first game? You got a chance to play in front of a full capacity crowd at Arrowhead Stadium. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, Arrowhead is, like I said, people told me before I came up here about how electric it is, and it topped everything I expected going into it. So it was a fantastic environment to go out there and compete. And I kind of feel like I started off a little slow in terms of the game, but kind of got more comfortable, so I didn't get in the flow of things. And then plays started coming to me as I was going through my keys and stuff that we discussed during the week. So I'm just looking forward to building on that.
A lot of times rookies will say in their first game they almost have to prove it to themselves that they can, play at that level. What did that initial tackle of Nick Chubb feel like, where it seemed like he might be able to kind of cut up and score a touchdown? You were able to stop that play.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way when it comes to that. Just trying to prove myself that I can play in this level. And so I just boosted confidence, kind of gave me confidence going on throughout that game. Early in the series, I had a tackle. Baker Mayfield kind of loosened up the pads. And after that, just playing fast and just trusting myself.
Speaking of playing fast, we hear that a lot from rookies as well, just the speed of the game. How was it for you, and really did the preseason games help you in that regard?
Yeah, it was a blessing having the preseason, OTAs, training camp, all that heading into not gonna help the game slow down for me a little bit. So when I was out there, it wasn't necessarily the game speed. That was tough. It's more so the mental aspect of it, just trying to make sure you're sharp in tune, communicating, all those intangible things you do at the linebacker position. So that's kind of the biggest transition for me. Just feel like I did a pretty good job with it, and I'm looking to build on it next week.
Where do you feel like Kitchens helped you the most during the game, given all the sort of lessons he's trying to give you throughout off season and training camp?
Just constant communication. Being a rookie, a linebacker, just reassuring. I don't know what you're thinking in your head before the snap. He just gave me that confirmation that, okay, yeah, that's right. So that's kind of the biggest thing he gave me during that 60 minutes of game. And just as you go into the week, he kind of gives me tips and keys of how to study film and stuff like that, what to look for. And so he's been a blessing for me. Everybody else in the locker room as well. So I'm looking forward to building on it.
As you talk about the film, were you able to go back and watch your performance, and what kind of grade would you give yourself?
I'll give myself a B-. I kind of feel like there are some plays out there I could have made, overthinking. Kind of was a little soft sometimes on certain plays, so I'll give myself a B-.
Who did the first phone calls go to after the game?
Actually, my mom and them was at the game, but I went ahead and gave them a call too as well after the game. Just talked to them. It was kind of a special moment for us. So yeah, my mom and my dad for sure got the first call.
Did you hear from a lot of your former teammates and coaches at Mizzou? Any messages that stand out?
Yeah, I got to mess with everybody. All those guys supported me when I got drafted. From Martez, Chad, Trajan, Jeff, Coach Drink, Coach DJ Smith as well, my linebacker coach. So all those guys have sent me encouraging messages throughout training camp up to this point, and I'm grateful for that.
Nick, I asked a couple guys after the game about this, but from your perspective, what went right in the fourth quarter for you guys to get 3 consecutive stops to end the game?
We kind of just stayed ahead of the sticks in our end. Gave them second and long, third and long. I kind of feel like that kind of helped us get the key third down stops in the fourth quarter, force punch, and then ultimately getting a turnover at the end. I kind of feel like every one of those little bitty plays throughout there kind of helped us get stops, and then ultimately get an interception in the game.
You played 45 total defensive snaps. I think only Anthony Hitchens played more than you out of the linebacker core, including a lot in nickel. What did you do, or what helped you prepare yourself to play a lot in the nickel package, even from training camp or even some of the preseason games?
Yeah, during training camp, we first started with the vets. That kind of helped me out along the way, especially when they were down, dinged up a little bit during training camp. They kept pushing me to be more advanced in my mental aspect of the game. And so I kind of learned both positions. And so kind of knowing that this dude's doing this, so I know how to do this type of deal. And also I just trying to be open and learning throughout training camp. I just want to open and learn. I came in with the mindset that I wanted to improve mentally. And so I did that every single day and kind of helped me be right now where I am right now.
Can you speak to the Lamar Jackson challenge? What do you have to do? What's the discipline needed to help contain Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, gap integrity is kind of the biggest thing I saw on film. He's an electric athlete, electric offense. He can do a whole bunch of different things with his hands in the ball. So just kind of be executing the game plan, doing our job, doing our 111th, making sure we're not trying to do too much, that type of stuff.
Given that you're filling in for Willie Gay, I'm just wondering, did he say anything to you after your first game, and just how much of playing for him is a part of your sort of role right now?
Yeah, so Willie, I knew Willie before here. A couple of y'all know that. But as soon as he found he was deemed up, sent me a message, encouraging message, told me to just trust myself. I've been doing this for a long time. So just doing it for Willie. I know he's going to come back strong for us. So while I'm filling in for him, I just want to execute. He's helped me out throughout the week as well, giving me a call after the game, giving me congratulations, stuff like that. So definitely a big brother. I'm looking forward to keep playing for him. And then when he gets back with us, I'm excited for what we got going forward.
Watching the game the other night, I'm sure you watched the Ravens, a little bit of Ravens Raiders. How's it different, now watching it as an NFL player, knowing you're scouting future opponents versus, watching as a fan? Yeah,
I actually joked around with my dad on that one. Just a different perspective of the game. That kind of got. And I was watching it, trying to looking at it as a what can I do to kind of stop it, rather than just watching for enjoyment. So it's a little different. But again, it's a blessing to be here.
Okay, thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we got Orlando coming.
I know you get a chance to go play back there in Baltimore. What's the feeling? What's the excitement level? You going back facing your own team?
Super excited, man. Obviously, just period. With it being, me playing in the NFL, but obviously with the circumstances being what it was, what it is, me growing up there and growing up around that franchise, man, I'm super excited to get out there and get back home.
You gave up 5 pressures Sunday's game the most of your career thus far. How would you grade your performance? What do the atmosphere? Just give us your first thoughts on your first game as a Chief in a game that meant something.
Yeah, flat out, man. I got to play better. I'm here to, dominate. No matter who I'm going against or whatever the circumstance is. I got to play better, and I will.
Throughout training camp in the preseason, there's a lot of talk about you and Patrick learning how to work together, and I just got to ask him a little bit. He said he felt like the communication was pretty good, but he wants to work on his depth of his drop still, and obviously it's one full game with you guys together. How did you feel that went, specifically with you and Pat working together for one game, and then what are you going to be working on in that relationship for the next several weeks?
Yeah, there's a ton personally for me as an individual to continue to work on fundamentally. But me and Pat are always going to communicate, make sure that me and him are on the same page. Me and the offensive line are always on the same page, and just making sure he's as comfortable as possible in the heat of the moment. As a quarterback, it can be tough, when you've got people in your face or you're having to throw off different spots and all those different things. Obviously, he's more than capable of that, but that's why I'm here. That's why some of us are here. These new guys are here, man. So he's a lot more comfortable with throwing off of just one spot specifically, and we're working on a ton of different things, working and figuring things out. But like I said, man, I just got to play better, flat out.
I'm sorry. Is it more comforting to actually have a full game to work from now versus all the scenarios, obviously trying to work guys in through training camp? Just can you sort of explain how it's different now, knowing that you have some data to pull from?
Yeah, man, it just gives you a lot more comfortability as far as studying film, studying yourself, learning what you can do differently, and how to attack certain blocks. When you've got a full game, you kind of figure out the rhythm of a game. And as an offensive line, one of the more important parts of the position is really just understanding the flow of a game. How your offensive coordinator is going to call the game, what your quarterback's seeing, what your running back's seeing, what your guard's feeling, and being able to play a full game gives you that comfortability of being able to watch film and understand how the flow of a game is going to go. What Joe saw and felt on a certain play, what Patrick was able to feel when I had a flaw in my game or whatever. You know what I mean?
You talked about going back to Baltimore, and of course they know you, they know your strengths, your weaknesses, and theirs. What kind of benefit is that? Challenges that pose for you?
I definitely think it's a challenge, man. Like you said, they know my strengths and my weaknesses. So when you're dealing with, someone like that or a team like that or a coach or a player, obviously there's things that I have to fine tune in my game to make sure that doesn't happen.
Conversely, how much is Spags in your ear trying to pick your brain on tendencies that the Ravens might like to do on offense?
Oh, nothing at all, man. Nothing at all. I'm not no snitch, man. So, yeah, so, nothing at all. No. No.
This would something maybe better suited to ask after the game. But what do you anticipate it's going to be like walking into M&T, seeing teammates and friends and whatnot?
Oh man, I mean, obviously with that stadium, it holds a special place in my heart because where I first found my love for the game, and watching my dad play and watching the original Ravens and all those guys play, man. I always get emotional every time I step in there just because I see the suite that we played that we would sit in when my dad was playing. And, I always, every time when I was playing there, I just look up at it, man, because I remember being a kid dreaming about having the opportunity to play in this league and, being able to play left tackle, in the NFL, man. And, it's extremely humbling. I'll be very emotional, but, I plan on letting my emotions play for themselves.
Watching the game the other night and watching the film of Lamar, everything, I mean, what's the feeling that's going through your head with watching now, guys that you used to know, but now you're on the other side of it now? Is it a little bit different?
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, man. I probably would compare it to, almost like being a guy on IR and watching the game from home. You know what I mean? You know how, that team thinks, how the coaches think, how the players think, like I was saying, you understand the flow of the game and all those things that are coming as the game goes on. And so, I was able to watch it as a fan, for the first time, just really, looking at, the offense and knowing what's going on, knowing who's supposed to get who. It was pretty interesting.
is it kind of the same? You've just seen Patrick Mahomes as a fan before you got here.
Yeah.
Watching Lamar as a fan, is it kind of the same experience seeing those two guys?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely weird, man. Being on this side of it, not being there, but it's pretty cool.
Did you share the emotions of being down 9 in the fourth quarter and then in one play you're down 2?
Yeah. Man, that was crazy. I just remember looking over, seeing Patrick fade to the right and throwing across the field, and 10 going up and making a play. That's what this team is, though, man. It's a ton of resilience here, a lot of talent. Patrick is, the best ever at what he does, man. And I would definitely say this isn't a team you should count out. Early on, no matter what the situation is, man. We're one play away, and Coach Reid expresses that, and so does Coach EB.
What was the best thing about playing with Lamar?
Gosh, man, I loved his passion, his love for the game. It was he had a very raw approach, very raw emotion when he's out there, man. And similar to 15 in that sense, just that dog mentality. You know what I mean? No matter what's being thrown at him, no matter how he gets hit, what happens, he's always going to get up and keep swinging.
You mentioned all that, and Patrick Mahomes has evolved since he's become a starter in 2018. How has Lamar Jackson evolved over the years, in your opinion?
Yeah, definitely. You can just tell just how much more comfortable he is in the system, how much more comfortable he is, and going through his reads and stuff like that, man. I don't think it's ever necessarily been a problem of he can't throw, as opposed to going through his reads and figuring out what works best for him and making those split decisions, man. And it's something he's gotten better at over time, and he's gotten better with it from the point we got in this league to now. He's made huge strides, man. We're talking about MVP in 2019. So, he's got what it takes. He's got what it takes, man. And, I'm super, super happy for him, super happy for that organization and everything that they got going on.
I know you said that, the Ravens, they know your strengths, they know your weaknesses, but, you practice against them and, for, in your career. Do you see any strength and weaknesses on the defensive line that you'll be able to extrapolate from?
I'll just continue to watch the film, man. I don't want to get too specific on anything, but they got a great defensive front, great defense. Great Coach Martindale and what he does, and great scheme, man. So we're gonna have our hands full.
Okay, thanks, Orlando.
Yeah, thanks, Orlando.